Hi everyone. So in this video, I have chosen to bring in the child. I didn't choose to bring him with this haircut. I didn't choose to let him have his hair brushed like this. It's not my fault that he doesn't own his own little comb or knows how to shower. It's not my fault. So today's video, as we continue on with the chapters, I kind of started making them like in a sequential kind of order in a sense. And now we are at this point where like this is much more recent events, and the much more recent events, well, not recent, but like the thing that has really like been the main focus that has created things. Stop making face, I'ma punch you. Is this child going through these emotional thoughts and things and such, like his inner turmoils over the fact that our parents separated. So something that I tend to like point out between like him and I in the sense of our differences is like I guess like it like during the time that like our parents were separating, I was in like this intimate relationships class in psychology, and like we were talking about separation of parents and like the differences between kids who have their parents separate, kids who experience their parents living together and going through arguments, and then kids who had their parents separate. And I guess we're both kind of like that example, because I lived through our parents arguing more often, and he actually lived through them splitting up, and you can see the differences in how we view the separation and stuff like that. Unfortunately, in his case, I don't want to vocalize it because it's like it's not me who went through it, it's more of you. But I feel, I don't know, because you're my guest. But basically, like, this child had suicidal thoughts, unfortunately. And well, I don't know. I can't speak on your behalf because this is still like, this is your story and stuff like that. So I don't know if you want to tell the people, the viewers, like, I don't know how much you want to talk about. I don't know. It's up to you. It's your story. It's what you went through. It's what you want to vocalize. If you want to, if we get further and further in a discussion, then we will. And if not, then I'm going to just smack you in the face either way.
So the first thing where I saw that they were like getting into like that, I remember the discussion with them saying that they're gonna separate. It was the day after Lorena's birthday, and it was in this room. And then
Yeah, they both brought us in.
Yeah, and then
to the room.
It was like, I mean, it was the first time mommy said that, so it's like almost like okay, but like it hurt. And then, but he still lived. My Papi still lived here. He still lived here, and then.
Well, we need to make it clear that mommy would tell him to leave, and he kept saying, "I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm staying here."
Okay, yeah. So then, that was in February. March, I was in 8th grade. That was like last year. And then it was like around March, maybe.
April.
No, not like when I saw.
Oh, it was March.
Yeah, okay, it was March. I come home from school, and almost every day I usually walk into this room. If my dad's awake, I say hi. I came from school, and I go outside to get something. This time.
Soda.
And this time, I see my dad in like, well, it wasn't like FaceTime, but it was like.
Because my dad has has an Android, so it's not FaceTime, but he was on. I think it's like I want to say it was Facebook Messenger, because that's how you can video talk to someone. And so the thing with this is, my dad used to always say I don't have a Facebook, but my mom has found multiple times my dad with the Facebook, and I have too. I found once, like, I was like just on Facebook, and like the little thing that says people you may know, he popped up. But he's over here saying he doesn't know about having a Facebook. He doesn't understand how that happened, blah, blah, blah. But continue,
Okay.
sorry.
So then, usually when he's on a call, it's always with the relative, right?
Yeah.
And this always happens where whenever you walk in or I walk in, he always says, "Oh, ya vino Gabriel or ya vino Manuel or wherever they came or wherever we came from." This time it was different. This time he hung up immediately. He said, "Oh, bye, I need to go now." Oh no, he said, "Oh, ya vino," saying he already came. He referred me as it, not Gabriel. And
How do you say it?
huh?
Ya llegó?
Yeah, you go.
That's not.
Not it. Not. Oh, well, yeah. He referred to me as that. He didn't say by my name. So then, and then he hung up immediately.
So my brother felt like the Nancy Drew
No,
right now.
but then
Sorry.
I managed to see the face, and now that I've seen pictures of the lady,
I still
it's-
haven't seen her.
I have, and now that I've seen the picture, it was her that I saw.
Okay.
So then it was. I didn't know that. I saw the image of the lady and I didn't know who it was, cause. And I know it wasn't a relative. So then. The day.
You didn't know who she was, but you knew that she wasn't someone that you knew.
Yeah. So then day after the next 2 days, I call you. You're the first person I
Contacted.
yeah, and I told you about it, and then you told me how, and I told you how I think that he's cheating on Mommy, and then you said, "Oh well, if he's cheating, then he's cheating and or whatever," or I forgot what you said, to be honest.
I said if he's cheating, like, then he's cheating, and we like need to come to the realization that he should not be with our mom and he should leave the house.
Okay.
But then you were also saying that you weren't entirely sure.
Yes.
And then I asked you if you wanted me to talk to Papi about it, and you told me no.
But you ended up doing it. Right?
No. Mommy was the one who told me
About what?
about how you saw.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then that's when I talked about it because that's when I was like, because that's when Mommy like just was like airing it out to me, and I just thought it wasn't fair, and I was getting mad. So then I called him and asked him about it, and he said, "No, you're not," like denying it basically. And obviously that's what he continuously did, was just deny everything.
So then you fast forward until like April. Where
On a Tuesday.
on a Tuesday, I had a practice after school at my middle school soccer team, and then I get picked up, and then Mommy pulls over to like a side, and she's like, "I need to tell you something," and I told her what. She said, "Oh,
So, okay, pause. So, if you see my previous videos, this is, there's like the little gap of like him getting dropped off and then getting picked up. That gap is where, I get dropped off at the movies with Esther, but then my mom calls me soon after to tell me about what she found on the phone. We come back, she approaches him, she like, what's that word, she goes towards him, whatever. She starts the conversation, whatever. They
Approaches
start,
him.
yeah, whatever. No, it's a different word, but yeah, approaches him and everything like that. And then that's when they have their discussion, stuff like that. She throws his stuff out and everything like that. Tells me to stay here or whatever. I go into my room. She says she has to go pick up Gabriel, and then
I get
picks
picked
up
up. She pulls over. She says, she tells me, and then she tells me and your dad are officially not gonna be together. And I told him, and he's not at the house anymore. He left. And then I'm confused. I told him what happened. She said I caught him with text messages of him cheating. And then I don't know how I felt at that time. I was like mad, sad, and then she said, if you want, we can stay here and talk about it. And then I told her, no, can we go to the house? We come to the house, And then you're already here. You're already in the living room. No?
I was in my room.
You're okay.
I was in my room the whole time just in case he came back out and like try to say something. But mommy at first didn't want to tell you that they were officially split up because she's all like, she didn't know how to or whatever. But I was all like, why? Like she didn't want to tell you. So I'm like, how are you gonna sugarcoat this? Like how are you gonna lie about this? Like he's gonna come back. He's gonna be like, why is this stuff out? Why is all this happening? Like you might as well just tell the child. It's only fair to you. Because it's not fair that you're always kept in the dark about things.
So then, I see, and then I asked to see the messages, and was it you or was it her that didn't want to show me? It was her, right?
She didn't want to show you, and I didn't want you to see either, because it's like, okay, you understand, but all that's gonna like, there's no point, because all you're gonna do is just continuously make yourself more upset. And at that point, I personally felt like there was no point. Mommy didn't want you to do that so that you wouldn't get even more angry at Papi.
Now, the thing that comes up in my mind is that I think I was the one that caught him cheating, sort of. Like, I was the first person to, like...
Well, no. Mommy knew. Mommy knew. You were the first one to have, like, physical, like,
okay, yeah.
saw it physically. But mommy already knew because, like...
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why mommy, like, would always say, like, I don't want to be with your dad anymore. We're going to split up. Because she knew that Papi was talking to another person.
So then...
Sorry. Excuse me.
So then... I keep... and then I keep asking, like, questions. She's like, just call your dad and ask him what happened. Just ask him. So then... I call him, and I tell him why. I just asked him straight up, why did you cheat on my mom? And he says I didn't. Now, he tried to mistake me for a dumb person, or I don't know what he thought I would believe him, but I didn't. And then he kept sugarcoating it, saying, "Oh, I didn't. I'm just gonna be gone for a while or whatever." And then he comes back. He comes, right? He comes back.
He has to pick up his stuff.
Yeah, he picks up his stuff, and then...
Because I think when mommy went to pick you up, he did come back to pick up some of his stuff.
Yeah.
Or most of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But some of his stuff was still, like, out there, or, like, he also had some stuff in the garage that he was picking up.
So then he comes back, and then I go outside with him to have a talk with him. And he still tries to say that he didn't cheat. So then I go back inside and yeah. So then that's where the start of my thoughts began, I guess. And then you can say the thing that hurt me the most was seeing that my own father left, because most of the things that I thought about was, if he truly loved us, why would he leave?
No, yeah.
And then we both admit that everyone admits that he had a closer relationship with me than
Yeah, like, I was just about to say that. Wow, look at us. Same minds think alike, or is it? Something like that?
great minds.
Great minds think alike. Wow. But no, yeah, I was about to say that, like, that's like I'm older, obviously, like 5 years or something like that. And like I said, like, I experienced the arguments between my mom and my dad to the point where, for me, growing up, I would just ask them, why don't y'all just split up? There's no point in continuously creating this negative environment for us and for both of you. So my mindset was already like, finally, like, it was like that point where it's all like, finally you two are like split in the sense of like they're no longer living together. But, and I already had some ideas of how my dad continues to be. This child has a certain, and by the way, I always call him this child and stuff like that. So, but the child here has a greater relationship with my dad to the extent that
I was like this golden child.
you were the golden child, and you were, and he just thought highly of you because of that.
Because I did sports. I was straight. I, you can say I paid more attention to him, like was more on him, like side or whatever.
You were more on his side, but in terms of stuff happening at the house, I was more on his side. Actually, no, I was more on his side than you were. Because when it came to him and mommy having arguments when you weren't paying attention or you weren't there, I would continuously be the mediator between both of them. Where I would tell mommy, don't, like, understand that you're in the wrong this time, and he's, like, right to a certain extent. So I lost my train of thought. But basically, like, my dad was like, Gabriel just had high standards for my dad to begin with because of how my dad treated him and how my dad was. Like, for myself.
I can speak for myself, please.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I was going to speak on myself for this time. I was going to say, like, I had that when I was younger, like, this certain idea of my dad, like, being very strong, being very noble, being very humble, but being very, like, fatherly and stuff like that. But then eventually it withered away. For
So,
this child, it's...
I feel like I had that too, but more of it, like, cause he of course, like almost every dad here, he was a dad that taught me almost everything. He was, well, until like.
What did I? Apparently, I wasn't here.
I didn't.
He taught you everything.
Not almost. Well, like in the.
I'm just kidding.
When
I'm
I
just
was
kidding.
younger, as like soccer, like he would tell me about just life or whatever, and like I don't know, it's hard to like I don't know, I can't get the feelings out about this, like it was just a strong like father and son connection that like you guys can imagine.
I can't, unfortunately. Okay, sorry.
So, yeah, so then going back into the story, that's where I got like
the beginnings of it.
Yeah, that's where I got the beginnings of like all the like thoughts of it, and I the thought was, oh yeah, if he really loved me, why would he do that? And so then there was that, and then that's where like my grades started going down. Like before, I was a 4.0 student.
Let's
high
not
test
say
grade.
that.
Yes, I did.
Okay, sorry.
I was a 4.0 student.
Okay, sorry.
You.
Not the year before. That's what I
ninth
mean.
grade? Oh, ninth grade?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
The stuff happened when you were in 10th grade. I mean, 8th grade.
8th grade, I had a 4.0 first semester.
But I meant like never mind, just
The
keep
semester after, you mean?
going. I mean, no, I'm talking about the years, like 7th grade, 6th grade.
7th grade, a 4.0. I did.
Okay, just go. Just go. Continue on with the
Okay.
story.
So then, my grades started going down. I started losing hope about many stuff because then. Oh, and then the other, another incident happened where you can kind of say my dad took me out of, like this, like my soccer team. You remember what happened there? Like,
Oh yeah.
where. So I had a soccer game, and something happened in like the field, and then the coach screams at me. Then my dad screams across the field saying that wasn't my fault, and then the coach takes me out the game, and he tells me to go. So then, you can kind of see it was like my dad that like took me out the team because he screamed at the coach across the field. So then, and then at that time the club already like the team already had like plans for me to go to, what country was it? I forgot what country it was.
Oh yeah, that was right.
To go
Iceland?
Not Iceland.
Greenland?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Like, I don't know, somewhere in
Right,
Europe. Somewhere in Europe. They had plans for me to go to play
Excuse me,
Europe
I'm
for
so
like
sorry.
a few. And then And then what happened? So then I got out of the team, and then I stopped playing completely.
Didn't you play at school?
I just, but that's like, that was only that was for middle school season. It's only like.
Oh
2
yeah,
months.
but you still played at school.
Yeah, I still
But
played.
yeah,
at
I
school.
see.
So then, I was like getting less like active, losing my like, you can say losing my my true self. And then, so then there, one week where I just like decided like I just want to end it. Like, I don't see any hope in doing it in the future. I don't see any hope of them getting back together. I don't see any hope of me playing soccer again or getting better or whatever. So then I already had a whole plan out of it. So then I would tell people at school like I'm gonna do it, until one day the 2 girls go to the counselor and tell them that I had these ideas, and I was actually gonna do it. That probably the day, yeah, I think it was the day of that they said it. And then they go and they tell her, the counselor gets me in and she talks to me, and then they get like I don't know what type of people it was, but like
Your school counselor, I know that, and
after, and then they sent 2 people to the house to talk to me. So then they talked to me about like what I was gonna do, and then next thing I know, I'm inside an ambulance because I'm gonna go to the to a holding hospital where they send people of, I wouldn't say like my kind, because it's like there's I don't know how to like, people with like
people who had similar thoughts
yeah,
as you.
suicidal thoughts or whatever. So then I'm there, and then I go inside this hospital, and I'm there for a week, maybe a week, or like about almost a week. So then I'm there, and then I got time to think on my own about like what I went through, and then I had a whole family discussion with Papi and Mommy, and we had our own like talks about it. And
Unfortunately, I couldn't have been there for these situations because during this time I was at school, and like for me at least on my end, it like I was really hurt because I couldn't be there for this child like I wish I could be, like I could have been. Like, I know I would text him or call him or whatever, ask him how he's doing, but it's not the same as me physically being here and being able to talk to him. And even then, even if I were to have been here, like for him to open up about those kinds of things, like that's difficult on his end. So it was just hard to know that he couldn't open up to me like I wish he could have. But at the same time, I'm happy that he was able to open up to someone and they were able to speak or say something, because if I were to like it was just on my end, it's just very like it was very just sad. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's sad, at least on my end. But yeah, and I couldn't be there for their discussions, which I wish I could have been there for, because it's like I want to know how this child is feeling and doing and everything like that. And I want my parents to be much more attentive in a manner that isn't like, I feel like my mom is too attentive and my dad is barely attentive, and it's not because he doesn't want to, it's because he doesn't know how to. But
how he grew up.
because of how he grew up, and so they're both just like, they're like opposite ends that are just appear too crazy for him possibly. But yeah, you can keep going. I'm sorry.
So then I'm there, and then after that talk, I'm there for like another like few days. So then the doctor tells me how I have depression. So then that's something like people don't know much about me. Because I'm a person that I'm a very outgoing person, you can say. I'm a soccer player. You can pretty much say I'm a jock, almost. In middle school, I knew a lot of people. I was like, I wouldn't say popular. I was like well known, I guess. So then I was well known and whatever. Like, it's not something someone would expect from a person like me. So then I get out of the hospital and I go back into school and back in like living around here, and like in those first few days, mommy would always ask, "Oh, how are you doing? Are you fine today? Did anything happen at school?" She was more like concerned, and I liked it. Like, I liked that she was like more concerned, cause
But honestly, I think mommy always did that for us.
she always did that. She always.
But
yeah,
I think that it was just to the extent that it was much more like, in the back of her mind, she knew what was like, that there's this other thing that she never thought of occurring for you.
Yeah, well, no one thought that.
Yeah.
I never was gonna do that.
I feel like many people, in the sense of like, if you don't know the person that you're speaking to and you don't know like to a certain extent what they're going through, and even if you do, sometimes it doesn't cross your mind that they could be having the thoughts that they're having, or they could be going through the things that they're going through, because not everyone's the same, or not everyone handles things similarly. Which is why I was like I said, like for me, those thoughts never have occurred to me. And so for me, not being able to be there for you was just like unfortunate for me, because it's like, I don't know what thoughts you're having to get you there.
That's the thing where I think of. I feel like at times I don't like to talk to people because they're not inside me. They don't feel the way I feel. Like, they can have similar thoughts, but I don't know how to explain. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, they can have the similar thoughts, but they're not me. I'm the only one that knows truly how the way I feel and the way I am. So then it's hard for me to talk. Like it's hard to talk to you. It's even hard to talk to like close friends or whatever. Like, so then at that time, like, I felt lonely or whatever. So after I get out the hospital, Papi was more here, but yet they're still having arguments. So then that's what made it harder for me to like get out of these thoughts, because after the hospital, I still kind of had like a bit of those thoughts, but so then they still had their arguments, and I was like getting more tired of it. And then so then the end of the school year comes, and I was really disappointed in my grades. I had 3.5. And those 3 years, that was like the lowest I had. And yeah, I was like very disappointed in myself. I know I set expectations for myself, even though some people don't think I do, but I do. And then I get upset with myself, and I'm very hard on myself, because it's the way I grew up, because our own dad expected me to be like better, like big. Like, he wanted me to be like the best. He wanted me like, and I'm not saying that's bad, but like sometimes he would push me too hard. He would say, there was some like words there was some like things he would tell me that were very inappropriate, where I felt well, I never said it, where I never told anyone. Like, there was times where like he said, "Oh, I don't want you to become like Manuel and become all lazy," and like he said he said, "I don't want you to be fat like him," like that. He straight up said it. It's like, oh, or he would say, if I didn't want to like run that day, or didn't want to work out that day, he would tell me, "Oh, you're becoming into a girl, you're not man enough," or whatever. So then I would do it to prove him wrong.